Hello everyone and welcome to Investing Angles. In today's market waves, we'll discuss quite a few things. First, we will start with our traditional volatility. We'll have a look at the volatility and the volatility futures indices. After that, we'll talk about bonds, yields, and TLT. We'll see whether today's move will change anything in the long-term perspective. After that, we will move into US major indices and we'll discuss S&P 500, Dow Jones, and Nasdaq from multiple perspectives, from technical, from Elliott Waves, and from candlestick. During this discussion, we'll touch point on the major US sectors and we'll talk about major stocks. We'll see their perspective for the closure for tomorrow, for the weekly closure. And to wrap things up, we'll discuss Tesla and Microsoft as a special feature of today. Before we start, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and support us with your likes. Follow us on other media. Let's begin. So what we are seeing here today is quite a bearish closure on the daily frame, and if there is another bearish candle tomorrow closing below the low of this green one, technically it will be a big reversal, and we would expect volatility to move much lower, perhaps 1 or 2 points. That's the perspective. So far, volatility is bearish neutral, and tomorrow will be a key closure. If we look at the futures, they're quite different, and interesting that technically for tomorrow it is aligning for a bearish closure, for a bearish move. However, I'd like to mention and highlight these crosses, particular crosses which are expanding: the 50-day over 200 days moving average and also 8x20 EMA. They were bullish, and this could be a big challenge. Now, if we look at the slightly bigger frame, so that might explain why. This is the 5-day candle that closed today, and you can see that it is inside up, and technically this is a bullish candle, and it moved above multiple support lines, and it found support at the 50 periods moving average, which is quite a significant move. So we have to beware. And if we look at the 10-day frame, which is even bigger, so we are seeing also a bullish candle, and this could be a surprise for many, but we have to be very cautious when we are talking about potential bearish move here, so that the next 5 to 10 periods are expected to have higher than normal volatility based on these candles. All right, so let's move on to the Treasuries Department. Today was a very strong bearish move. However, it wasn't enough, it wasn't sufficient to reverse the trend yet. This is called so-called bearish harami for the 2 and 5 day or 5-year yields. 10-year, 20, and 30, they are forming right now a bearish engulfing. However, based on certain technicals and some other instruments, this engulfing needs to be confirmed. So it is not a clear reversal yet. So tomorrow will be a key moment. And as there are no momentum reading today, we don't have other candles bigger than that. We will just wait for one more day, and we'll see if there is a strong move. Then we will be talking about, and maybe in 5 minutes we will get back to this 30-year yield, because it looks like it's going to be closing right at the low of the previous day, which would be a bullish continuation signal. We'll get back to it in 5 minutes. Let's move on. This is another concern that has been with us so far. This is the spread 10-year minus 2-year yields, and today's closure was concerning, to say the least. So we had previously, this is 10-day frame, by the way. This is 2 times bigger than the weekly. We had bearish engulfing here, and technically this candle today is confirming a reversal on this bearish engulfing. That's could be a very significant move. And if you look at the 15-day frame, it's also a bearish engulfing on the 15-day frame, also closing today in 4 minutes. So that's a very concerning signal, and there is a very good chance that in the next 10 to 15 days, let's say somewhere in March, April, we might see a cross below 0. So the spread could turn negative. And we were looking at this chart. It has been tracking since January. So what we are seeing here is the potential on ABC corrective wave, with the wave C being a diagonal. So far it is unfolding in a bearish manner, and I would say it's more impulsive right now than corrective. Let's see how it develops further. So far it is a big concern. Now let's have a look at the 10-year yield, a bigger picture. So what we are seeing, this is potentially, as we already discussed, potentially inside down or an equivalent of a bearish engulfing candle on the daily frame. However, it would need a confirmation tomorrow. And another candle that is closing today is a 10-day candle. After a strong bearish engulfing, it's just opposing doji. So it could be a reversal, it could be a bullish reversal, or it could be bearish continuation. So we are not seeing any clear picture here. So the 15-day is closing as a bearish candle. However, it's not strong enough, and it has support at the 8 periods moving average. And speaking about the monthly, so far there is no concerns about the potential bullish path. So could be 2 monthly corrective or consolidating doji, and then the rally will resume further. And now let's talk about TLT. This has been our chart for a couple of days. So far we are seeing 1, 2, 3, potentially 3 waves, and this wave 4, which we were talking about, now it is within just a few basis points of being invalidated. If TLT moves higher, this red line, the impulse will be invalidated, and we will be looking for a different wave. And this chart remains intact so far. So what we were talking a couple of days ago, saying that this is a bearish flag right now, and TLT is trying to break it down, and if it moves in an impulsive fashion, then it will be following the purple path. If it makes a corrective wave, then we would consider this as wave B. Well, so far both paths remain active, but I would say that a little, how many, 3 basis points higher here, and the purple could be invalidated. And what kind of support we have on the candles? On the candle side, so what is interesting today, extremely interesting. I would go actually bullish, if not this particular closure. This candle, today's candle, closed exactly at the high of the Tuesday's candle, and In this case, it's neutral, slightly bearish, and we will need a confirmation for either path here. Should it close just 1 basis points higher, and we would be strongly bullish here. However, we have to wait. There is no 2-day candle today, and we are looking for tomorrow to bring clarity. The weekly candle, so far it is bearish, but tomorrow will be critical day. We can see if this bearishness is negated and TLT recovers from this bearish attack earlier this week. All right, so that's been TLT. Has it closed already? Let's check. Yeah, it's already closed, and let's check. It's closed low 742, 742. So yeah, as I expected. So it's closed exactly at the low of the previous candle. So in this case, it's bullish neutral, or neutral bullish, slightly bullish. We'll see what tomorrow brings. So far, this is not a reversal. We need to see a strong confirmation. Now let's move on to our major indices. S&P 500, Nasdaq, Dow Jones, and Russell. Today we are seeing very strong green candles, and technically this is this red candle here has been negated by S&P 500. The same move made Nasdaq. I cannot tell the same story about Dow Jones and Russell. So far, these two remain somewhat neutral, very close to neutral, slightly bearish. But tomorrow it might change if we see a stronger move higher. So far, Nasdaq and S&P are bullish for tomorrow. And interesting, by looking at a couple of indicators that are not shown here, I would say that there is a possibility that the wave 3 of some degree is starting right here. So tomorrow we will see how it goes. If we see a strong green candle tomorrow, similar size of this, of the last two, we might have a 3 white soldiers and the beginning of wave 3 of certain degree. If we look at the potential weekly closure for tomorrow, if S&P and Nasdaq close like this with these candles, it will be a clear reversal, clearly overcoming the recent weakness. And for Dow Jones and IWM for Russell, I cannot say for sure. We need to see a much stronger move by Dow Jones and a much bigger move by Russell in order to flip these candles into bullish. So these are futures. Technically, they are aligned with what the cash indices say, and the only thing here that Dow Jones is more, the futures for Dow Jones are more bullish than the cash index. So far, the futures for Russell, even though they were strongly bearish yesterday, had a closure. Today they tried to negate it, and we need another green candle closing above this red one in order to confirm a reversal. Now let's have a look at the technical side. This is MACD 10-day, and what we are seeing here is a very interesting story, that the 10-day frame, it didn't close at a new higher high, but it closed higher than the previous one. And at the same time, we are seeing that MACD is declining, the histogram is declining, and the cross is expanding. This is a fairly concerning signal, and I would be very cautious about it. So it's highly unusual for a rally to begin with a negative MACD. All right, so that we'll keep an eye on this. So far, we have no conclusion about this. So this is more leaning towards this red one, technically. However, we need to see a very strong bearish candle in order to make to confirm this flip. Now moving on to our signals. So I would say that probably we can scrap here the purple path, because I wouldn't rely too much on this one. If this is wave 2, I think that this is another structure. It is being developed. Most likely this is wave B here, and potential for wave C. However, I would say that we need to keep that index needs to keep this its price below the all-time high in order to reliably form the APC. Other than that, I am more and more leaning towards the ending diagonal with moving towards all-time high. The question is right now about when and how this structure is developed, because what we are seeing here, this potential wave, this is a 1, 2, potentially 3, 4, and 5, and this is, I will change the color. So, but that potentially this could be a diagonal. I am not seeing how this wave can be an impulse. Well, that's the perspective for S&P 500. Okay, let me change the date. Today is 13. And now let's have a look at Nasdaq. So what we are seeing for Nasdaq is fairly similar picture. Potentially Nasdaq formed wave A and now is forming wave B. I made a few minor changes, so I also scrapped the immediate move down because it's been invalidated. And now I'm looking for two potential paths. First is a bigger correction ABC, and another possible path is development of a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this diagonal would move towards an all-time high. Yeah, that's the perspective, and as long as Nasdaq stays below the all-time high, it has better chances for wave C to be complete. By the way, wave C here could be a diagonal itself. Whether this could be this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Potentially this count is also on the table. And well, this diagonal could be extended. Let's say if wave 3 is this one, at this point we don't have any very strong possibility, very strong support technically for either this or another wave. So that's this particular development remains on the table. And now let's have a look at the Dow Jones. So this chart we have been tracking for a couple of days. So far, there is a very similar formation that is being developed. Again, the very first wave of the bottom at the beginning of February is not corrective, or is not impulsive. So we are viewing it as a potentially correction as WXY, or there is also a chance to forming a bigger diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like I said, it's green. Most in this case, as we can see, the index is somewhat aligned, and in our case, this diagonal would take another week or maybe two to develop. So we have to be patient and watch how the waves are developed. And now let's have a look at the major sectors. So what we are seeing here, technology is clearly bullish, very good chances to move higher. The same for financial, it's cautiously bullish. Industrial is kind of neutral. I wouldn't say it has a very strong bullish move. Consumer staples bullish, somewhat neutral. Healthcare and utilities closed with a neutral candle, but the chances are better for the bulls. And consumer discretionary possibly formed a bottom here. Energy tried to negate this strong bearish formation of yesterday, but the candle wasn't sufficient, so it's a thrusting line. Most likely the move down will resume. And speaking about a few larger stocks, what we are seeing here is a fairly concerning closure for Microsoft for the weekly tomorrow. So Microsoft needs to rally quite a bit in order to reverse this potentially bearish formation. Somewhat similar is for Amazon. Amazon is not in a very good position, so these two are very vulnerable to bearish closure tomorrow. Similar thing for Alphabet. Google, if it closes like this, it will most likely be a consolidating candle before moving lower. NVDA looks good so far. After a weekly bullish engulfing, we expected it to rally this week, and so far it did. Let's see how it closes the week tomorrow. Apple is very optimistic here, and I would say if it closes the week with a nice candle, we might see a very strong rally. This looks like a 3 white soldiers here on the daily frame, and the weekly so far looks very promising. Tesla is an interesting position. So technically it confirmed the daily reversal. However, the move wasn't extremely strong and not very much supported by technicals. So I would be very cautious here, and especially if we look at the weekly frame. This is a neutral doji, and I wouldn't be so sure about potential reversal here. This could be most likely a continuation candle. But we'll discuss Tesla in just a few minutes in our special. All right, so and Berkshire, it looks like it recovered from a scare early this week, and so far it looks bullish. All right, so now let's move on to our specials today. First is Microsoft. What we are talking about, Microsoft continues to develop several concerning signals, and particularly on the daily frame, I'd like to highlight that yesterday Microsoft formed a bearish 100 over 200 days moving average cross. It's not a simple one, and I would like to say that Microsoft probably gonna stay bearish for a while. The weekly we already discussed. The weekly closure needs to be much higher in order to reverse this. And I'd like to remind that just a couple of days ago, Microsoft closed this 8-day frame with a very strong bearish engulfing, technically bearish continuation candle in that context. And the 8 by 20 EMA bearish cross is about to happen this or next week. And this is another bigger view, 2 months closure, which is coming at the end of February. So far, it looks bearish. Let's see if Microsoft would be able to hold it. Speaking about technicals, we are looking for the head and shoulders formation potential for Microsoft. It is slowly moving there. So if it crosses this line, the neckline, well, it's going to be already 17% of the top, and we would be looking for another 20 added here. And this will be the target, the most prospective target for this type of formation. And another thing, that this is Elliott Wave. What we are seeing here, that Microsoft, after making a very strong move in July, August, potentially forming an impulse, it hasn't been able to form a reasonable impulsive wave, and this wave is likely corrective. So now we are looking for either finding support in the red area or making a bigger impulse, potentially bigger impulse, and finding and targeting this blue one. But right now at this point, it's a bit early to say. So far, let's say the red target is the most typical one for the next move. And finally, let's have a look at Tesla. What we are seeing here is, first of all, technicals. We discussed this multiple times already. Tesla formed a bearish MACD cross on the weekly frame. I'd like to emphasize that this cross happened on February 3rd, and it was of a record magnitude, the highest ever. And the previous crosses typically led to the losses of 44% of the stock's value. So if we project the same loss, we would be looking for the price between 200 and 260 in a couple of months or probably quarters. Let's see how it develops there. So speaking about the candles, I already discussed that Tesla formed here a potential bottom on the daily frame. However, there were no momentum readings today, and only we can do it tomorrow. So far, this the daily reversal is not very well supported technically, and we need to have a better confirmation. So we are expecting it to come tomorrow with it on the weekly frame or 2 and 3 hour frames. So this was our path for Tesla. So far it's been followed, and we'll see how it develops from now on. Potentially Tesla is in wave 3 right now. And speaking about a very large perspective, this was our chart that we discussed a while ago, early in January. Since then, Tesla has been moving in an impulsive fashion. Let's see how it develops from now on. So far, this is our potential targets, somewhere ranging from 260, but 140 wouldn't be a surprise at all, considering that this wave upward starting in April 2024 and ending in December 2024 has been a big expanding diagonal. All right, so that wraps up the discussion for today. We discussed quite a few things. If you like it, just support us with your likes, share the word around, follow us on different media like on Twitter, on Telegram, on Reddit. And have a great day, everyone, and happy trading.